I'm just gonna say it. Modern Pokemon cards are better than vintage. And I know half of you already want to close the video, but just hear me out because I've thought about this a lot and I genuinely believe it. Not as a hot take or to get a reaction, I actually mean it. And by the end of this video, I want you to tell me if I changed your mind. Look, I grew up with this hobby. I know what vintage cards mean to people. I know what it feels like to hold a base set card and just feel something. That nostalgia is real, and I'm not here to take that away from you. But lately, I've noticed something. Sometimes in the community, someone says that if you're collecting modern, you're somehow doing it wrong. Like vintage is the only thing worth caring about. And honestly, that frustrates me because I think it's pushing people away from some of the best cards this hobby has ever produced. And before you comment and yell at me, I'm not saying everyone says that or that vintage sucks and you shouldn't collect it. Today, I just want to talk about why I feel the way I feel, no agenda, just my honest opinion. Let's start with the thing I feel most strongly about, the artwork. I love the base set Charizard. That card means everything to this hobby and I respect it completely. But compared to modern cards with their full arts, there was a leap. It's Charizard on a colorful background, and that was legendary for 1999. It really was, I'm not trying to insult the card. But let's compare this to a Charizard promo card from Sword and Shield. The background has a bunch of detail and the art tells a story. I'll be honest with you, when I pull a modern full art card today, I just stop. I actually stop and I just look at it because these cards are genuinely stunning. This generation of Pokemon TCG took art on the cards to a whole other level. We have connecting full art cards, we have Easter eggs within the art, and much more. And that's not me saying vintage art is bad. It's me saying modern TCG art has improved and it shows the growth the Pokemon TCG has had, making something 30 years old still feel brand new. And I think if you actually sat down and compared them side by side, honestly, you'd feel it too. The base set Charizard walked so the full art Charizards could run. I want to be real with you for a second and share something personal because I think it's at the heart of why I landed on the side of modern cards. When I first jumped back into this hobby, I fell into the same cycle I see so many people in. I was just chasing the hype. I was ripping packs, praying for that one massive hit, and when it didn't happen, I'd just go out and buy more. And don't get me wrong, that's a rush for a minute, but honestly, it started to feel pretty hollow and it happened fast. Now, that isn't necessarily a vintage versus modern problem, it's a mindset problem. You can get caught in that trap no matter what era you're collecting. But here's the thing about modern that I think is totally underrated. You can actually start, like right now, today, without needing a massive bank account. You want a stunning alt art? You can go pick one up for 20 or 30 bucks. You want to collect your favorite Pokemon? The singles are affordable and they're everywhere. The barrier to entry is so much lower than people realize, and this is something I actually talk about in my You're Collecting Wrong video. With vintage, that barrier is just different. And look, I'm not saying vintage is bad, those cards are legendary and the collectors are as passionate as they come. But if you're just finding your way back or starting fresh, vintage can feel like a locked door. Modern feels like an open one. That accessibility is what actually gave me the room to breathe and figure out what kind of collector I wanted to be. I started my legendary bird collection and I even have some vintage cards in that collection, but I just think about like without modern cards, I would have never tried to make this. Okay, this one might be a little controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Chasing high-grade vintage cards stresses me out, and I don't think I'm alone in that. These are cards that are 25 to 30 years old. They were owned by kids. They lived in pockets and binders and shoe boxes. Finding one in genuine gem mint condition today is like incredibly rare, and the prices reflect that. You're paying a massive premium because the card survived in good shape. And I get why that's exciting from a collector standpoint. Scarcity is real. But from a personal enjoyment standpoint, I'd rather pull a modern card today, sleeve it immediately, and I know that I have something pristine. Something I can actually hold and feel good about without worrying that I'm breathing on a 5-figure card. Modern collecting just feels freer to me, and I think that's underrated. Now, you want to know what is better than collecting modern and breathing on 5-figure cards? Subscribing. It is free and lets you join this amazing community here. But anyways, back to the video. Now, this is the part of the conversation I find most interesting, and I want to be honest, this is partly me thinking out loud. People talk about vintage as if the value was always obvious. Like everyone knew in 1999 that a base set Charizard was going to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars one day. Nobody knew a Pikachu illustrator handed out to kids at a drawing contest would one day sell for $16 million. They found out later, way later, So when people tell me modern cards don't hold value, I just keep thinking about that, because somewhere out there, there's a modern card sitting in someone's binder right now that is going to be the grail of 2080. We just don't know which one it is yet. And that uncertainty, that's actually what I love about collecting. You never really know what you're holding on to. And that feeling exists with modern cards just as much as it ever did with vintage. We just haven't lived long enough to see it play out yet. Last thing I want to say, and this is the one I feel deepest about. Vintage cards are loved because of the stories they carry, the era they represent, the feeling of something being from a specific moment in time that you can never go back to. I completely understand that. I feel it myself when I hold on an old card. But I think the modern cards are building those same stories right now, in real time. The artists behind these cards are known. The sets are documented. The moments they represent, special collaborations, unique releases, cards that only exist because of one specific thing happening are all being written as we speak. In 20 years, someone's gonna look at the cards being made today the exact same way we look at vintage now, with nostalgia, with appreciation, with that feeling of, I wish I held on to more of those. The story of vintage is complete. The story of modern times is still happening, and all of us are a part of it. So look, vintage cards are incredible, and all the love to them. Funny enough, I actually collect them myself and eventually would like to do a base set 2 master set with my family. They build this hobby and they deserve every bit of love they get. I'm not trying to take anything away from that, but I genuinely believe modern cards improved the TCG slowly. The art got more creative, the variety is better, the accessibility is better, and the future is wide open. If you've been sleeping on modern cards because someone told you they didn't matter, I hope this gave you something to think about. Drop a comment and let me know where you stand. I want to hear from the vintage fans especially making your case. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do that. This video was a lot of fun to make and I can't wait to see you in the next one.